Good morning. Welcome to another fresh edition of your Breakfast Show Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. My name is Onifred Gbebo, your host on the program. On today's show, we are going to be looking at newspaper review on today's program. Incidentally, unfortunately, also, we don't have a guest in the studio. However, newspaper review, and of course, we have Nigeria's most influential newspaper on the pack, or leading the pack, and that is Leadership newspaper. Today's story is all the same. Of course, breaking news yesterday, we had the report of the PDP governor-elect of executive governor of Delta State defecting, and the immediate past governor of the state, Dr. Kowa, and all the commissioners and executives defecting to APC, the ruling party. It's a story that is gracing the cover, all the papers we have for review on today's program. But however, let's start with leadership and see how leadership couched the story. Leadership. Ahead of 2027, PDP suffers big blow as APC captures data. Oborevori, Okowa, others join ruling party. Governor orders collapse of all political structures into APC. Shetima Gantuje to receive defectors Monday. Let's just have excerpts from that leading story as we move to page 4 of leadership. It says, after weeks of denial and speculation, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevori, 2023 PDP vice presidential candidate, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, and other party chieftains in the state have finally dumped the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for the All Progressives Congress, APC. The defections led to the collapse of the entire PDP structure into the ruling APC, ending 26-year run of the PDP in the governance of Delta State. The high-level defections followed a meeting of PDP leaders and stakeholders in the state on Wednesday in Asaba, the state capital. Announcing the outcomes of the meeting at a press conference in Asaba, the state capital, Delta State Commissioner for Information, Mr. Charles Anyagu, flanked by Senator James Manager, a pioneer member of the party, disclosed that Vice President Kashim Shettima was expected to receive Governor Sheriff Oborevori and the PDP family into the APC camp in Asaba on Monday. Excerpts from the leading story today on leadership. Ahead of 2027, PDP suffers big blow as APC captures data. It's a trending story, of course, the topic of conversation in social media platforms. Still on leadership newspaper, insecurity, Tinubu issues fresh orders, says enough is enough. The story is on page 7 of leadership. 26 states default in contributory pensions. 2025 Hajj may face operational hitches. IMF projects 45.4% debt to GDP for Nigeria by 2030. Towards the masthead of leadership, members hold parallel sittings as crisis rocks Zamfara Assembly. Atop the masthead of leadership, Asian Mediterranean refiners, major beneficiaries of Nigerian crude shipments in April. The story is on page 25 of leadership. Asian Mediterranean refiners, major beneficiaries of Nigerian crude shipments in April. From there, we move towards, we will go over to page 3 of leadership, where we have a permanent page, our stand. Today's stand is on that 10 billion naira solar power project. It's also a trending story on the social media. We're told that it was reported that 10 billion naira was actually allocated in the 2025 budget for the procurement of solar power for Aso Villa. And today's stand is on that topic, that 10 billion naira solar power project. Let's take excerpts from that stand today. There are reports that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved a princely sum of 10 billion naira for a solar power system exclusively for Aso Rock Villa, the seat of the presidency. Previously, the alternative power supply for the villa has been diesel-powered generators. The project is expected to reduce dependence on the national grid and cut energy costs for the State House, especially considering that the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, listed the presidential villa among top government debtors with an outstanding bill of 923.87 million naira in February 2024. GovSpend, a public finance tracking platform, claimed that the presidency spent more than 483 million naira on electricity in 2024 alone. Let's move towards the conclusion of that stand today. It says the cost implications of this when it happens can only be imagined, especially when corruption is brought into it. From this standpoint, we urge the federal government to make clear what its intentions are regarding electricity supply to the people. Pandering selectively to the convenience of those in government and political power will be ill-advised and counterproductive. Nigerians across the social spectrum deserve access to the same facilities available to the people they elected to represent them and serve their interests. That concludes today's The Stand on Leadership newspaper, which was on that 10 billion solar power project. From our stand, we move over to the back page today, Thursday, where we have been blunt with Muazu Elize. Muazu Elize is the group managing director of Leadership Newspaper Limited, and today he's writing on like Benue, like Plateau. Like Benue, like Plateau, of course, what these states have in common is the spate of insecurity, insurgencies in that zone, in those states. And in quotes, clearly this region is vital to Nigeria's economic stability, and the ongoing violence threatens not just local communities, but the nation's broader future. Quote from today's being blunt with Muazu Elize, like Benue, like Plateau. Just before we leave the back page, we must not fail to visit Ghana Must Go. News from former President Goodluck Jonathan: I don't like seeing people suffer. And the reply, chai. Well, it's on that note we conclude review of Leadership this Thursday morning. Don't forget to log into the website of Leadership for continuation of these stories and, of course, stories inside pages. From Leadership, we move over to the next paper. Like I said earlier, same leading story today on the leading papers. Let's first of all take Vanguard. Vanguard says 2027, Tinubu tightens grip on Southeast, South-South in gale of defections. 2027, Tinubu tightens grip on Southeast, South-South in gale of defections. Obore Wori, Okowa, PDP stakeholders join APC. Happenings in PDP made us defect, manager. Governor Eno denies dumping PDP. Ebonyi Ayim, SPDP state chairman, moved to APC. 150 PDP Labour members join APC in Enugu. Delta is finally APC, Keyamo. Attempts to turn Nigeria to one-party state will fail, but the judge. PDP leaders defecting due to EFCC probe coming from Momodu. Of course, that's what the social media users are saying. PDP leaders defecting due to EFCC probe coming from Momodu. These are kickers to the leading story today on Vanguard newspaper. 2027, Tinubu tightens grip on Southeast, South-South in gale of defections. Still on Vanguard newspaper, second leading story says insecurity. Enough is enough. President tells NSA security chiefs. These things have improved, coming from Ribadu, the NSA. Flush bandits out of Kwara in 1 month. COAS, as chief of army staff, orders troops. Flush bandits out of Kwara in 1 month. COAS orders troops. And allowances, federal government releases 50 billion naira to ASU orders. Now sports. Nigeria names 17 athletes for 2025 World Relays. From sports, we move to the stories above the masthead of Vanguard. NLC to IMF delegation, your reforms inflict hunger, poverty, and masses. The story runs on page 29 of Vanguard. NLC to IMF delegation, your reforms inflict hunger, poverty, and masses. Nimet strike chaos as Air Peace grants all flights nationwide. Agent woos international investors, Cardoso to investors, CBN will strengthen processes to sustain confidence. Agent woos international investors, that is the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Agent woos international investors, and Cardoso, the CBN governor, says to investors, CBN will strengthen processes to sustain confidence. Anti-party activities. Article Wike should leave PDP immediately. Coming from Bode George is on this note. We conclude review of front headline stories on today's Vanguard newspaper. For more, log into www.vanguardngr.com. The Punch newspaper is next on our lineup this Thursday. 2027 power shift. Opposition weakens as more PDP governors, senators are APCs. Still same leading story on Delta State's ESCO defection to APC yesterday. 2027 power shift. Opposition weakens as more PDP governors, senators are APC. Delta Governor Kowa, Oshun, Jigawa PDP chieftains, others defect to APC. PDP, Bode George attack Tinubu. Killings, Tinubu demands fresh security blueprint from intelligence chiefs. IMF says Nigeria's revenue at risk amid global tension. 40-year-old woman to face trial for raping Bochi boy is a story that also trended yesterday. And of course, report has it that the boy is just 12 years old. 40-year-old woman to face trial for raping Bochi boy. Zamfara Factional Assembly rejects 2025 budget. The story is on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. Zamfara Factional Assembly rejects 2025 budget. That takes us to one story just beside the masthead of the Punch. INEC moves to legalize voting without PVC. Of course, with that, we conclude review of front headline stories on the Punch. For more, don't forget to log into the website of the paper. This day is next on our menu this Thursday. PDP in disarray. The headline on this day today screams PDP in disarray. In a major political earthquake measuring a higher richer magnitude, Okowa, a vice presidential candidate, Oborewori, governor of Nigeria's oil-rich Delta State, along with all local government chairmen and the party's political apparatus defect to the ruling party. APC welcomes defectors, give deadline of May 29. Wike salutes Okowa. Why it matters, what we know, what happens next. These are riders to the screaming headline on today's THISDAY newspaper. PDP in disarray with an exclamation mark. In a major political earthquake measuring a high richer magnitude, Okowa, vice presidential candidate, Oborewori, governor of Nigeria's oil-rich Delta State, along with all local government chairmen and the party's political apparatus defect to the ruling party. Also with exclamation mark. Tinubu to intelligence chiefs, enough is enough. We have the picture of President Bola Tinubu in Villa yesterday with all the security chiefs, including the NSC. That takes us to the stories about the masthead of this day. Wale Edun reveals forensic audit of NNPC ongoing. Declares Nigeria's economy in better position to withstand US tariff shock. Cardoso, orthodox monetary policy has stabilized economy. Dangote joins World Bank's investment lab to advance job creation in emerging markets. Trump's trade war, $90 billion loss looms as US travel crisis deepens. The story is on page 8 of this day. Trump's trade war, $90 billion loss looms as U.S. travel crisis deepens. It's also on that note we'll conclude review of front headline stories on this day newspaper, this day, Thursday, April 24, 2025. For more, don't forget to log into www.thisdaylive.com. From this day, we move to the next paper and the last paper we have on our lineup, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian also has the same defection story. Hurdles for opposition parties as APC wins more governors, others. The story is on page 6 of The Guardian. We have the picture of President Bola Tinubu and the Delta State ESCO with the APC National Chairman Ganduje beneath that leading story. Insecurity, Tinubu security chiefs in talks that sees governors discuss crisis in Abuja. Insecurity, Tinubu security chiefs in talks 36 governors discuss crisis in Abuja. 10 billion naira also rock solar project and admission of power sector failure, says Riwa. The story runs on page 30 of The Guardian. ECOWAS to relocate institutions from Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. The story is on page 2 of The Guardian, following the exit of these three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, from ECOWAS. The commission is set to relocate its institutions from those countries. WHO to downsize operations amid major funding cuts is the news that runs on page 4 of The Guardian. World Health Organization, WHO, to downsize operations amid major funding cuts. IPOB laments we've been unfairly blamed for insecurity in Imo. The story is on page 7 of The Guardian. Lagos has shortfall of 66,000 doctors, nurses, says government. Scandals, President won't allow Akpabio to step aside, says senators. Reps say 1,723 vessels engage in sharp practices on Nigerian waters. Is on that note we conclude review of front headline stories on The Guardian this Thursday, April 24, 2025. Don't forget to log into the website of The Guardian for continuation of these headline stories and inside stories. www.guardian.ng. Well, so much for newspaper review today on Inside Nigeria, your breakfast from Leadership Television. Don't forget to join us for another fresh edition of the program tomorrow, Friday. My name is Winifred Ubebo. Don't also forget to stay on this station for news on the hour. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the